Hi, everybody. I am going to go over today how to use Google search to find answers to questions or to do research for a particular class. So in this case, it will be for world history. So if you're looking for information on a particular topic, you can always begin searching for answers just using Google search. So let's say you were looking for information about inventions, and you just do a simple Google search, you're going to come up with lots of information. And a 30-second, Google search can give you tons and tons of information. You can usually you'll see something at the top that's Wikipedia, but typically, teachers will tell you not to use that as a source. And it's a good start to just find basic information, but definitely not something that you're looking to use for your research. If you scroll down, you'll sometimes find other things like people also ask some maybe relative questions that could be helpful. And then you'll start getting a list of different websites. And separately, I'll go over how to differentiate good sites versus bad. Right here, it looks like there's some pretty good ones: Time Magazine, National Geographic, Scientific American. These are pretty reliable sources. But that's just in your all text. But you can also search for images. And if you click on that, you can search for different types of images. You can change the Google settings on your search, and you can search in different languages. You can adjust search settings to arrange things based on how many items that you're looking for, um, where you want these searches to come from. So there's a lot of different things you can do, and you can also, like I said, search for things in different languages. Now, Google search can be outstanding and be a great place to look for information. When you're looking for pictures, if you click on tools, you'll get another drop box down here, and you can search for things based on the size, color, usage rights, which is really important. So if you were looking for something that you might want to use in a class project, you're going to want to look for something that might be labeled for reuse, um, because initially you're going to get a lot of images that might not be able to be used for your classroom purposes. So if you change that filter, you'll see some other information. You can also look at the type. And so if you're looking for clip art, line drawings, animations, whatever it is, if you're looking for something that is more recent, something that is just in the past 24 hours, past week, past month, you can do that, or you can clear those filters altogether. So some neat things in just your basic Google search, which can be super, super helpful. But if you're looking for doing work for school purposes, you want to be using Google Scholar. Google Scholar is an amazing search tool that a lot of students don't even know about. So when you're asked to do research for a class and your teacher tells you that you have to have a certain number of sources, and of course, none of them can be Wikipedia or any other online encyclopedia, Google Scholar is the place to go. So it can help you meet the requirements and also find access to some great material for your research. So if you're looking for Google Scholar, simply type in Google Scholar and you will be taken to here. And it's just scholar.google.com, but it's going to look a little bit different. Where Google Scholar is cool is that when you search for things here, you're going to find articles and citations that are from academic sources. And some of them are publicly available and will be easy to access within the search results, but others are available from online databases, university libraries. They can be a little bit more complicated to find, but everything on Google Scholar is indexed and ranked in the same way that researchers evaluate their sources. So they don't just consider the full text, but also the author, who wrote it, what their expertise is, when it was published, who else has cited it, as well as how recently it's been cited by others. So when you're trying to find relevant and recent sources, Google Scholar is absolutely the place to go. So if you're searching for something in here, the default search results come back in terms of the relevance of your search. So depending on your research, you might want to limit the results. So if I was looking to research, let's just say the automobile, and I type that in, and I do a search, I'm going to get a bunch of different lists that contain the word automobile. There's some advanced search options that you can use, and since the authors are indexed, you can limit your results to just researchers that you know are experts in the field, so you can sort by that. You can also limit to only include specific publications. So lots and lots of different ways that you can actually sort things. You can also look if you want to only find something that was published this year, you can click on since 2020. So you can find some of the most recent articles. You can look for a custom range. So let's say that we were doing research on a person. And so for this, let's just go with George Washington. And so this will pull up anything from any time. And if we want to find, you can look through, you can see that there's all kinds of different information sources. Um, this one here is from a website. If I'm looking for, let's say I want to find a book, and I go back through, oh, here's one. This is a book, State of the Union. Oh, and it's a book on Google. So if I search this, I click this, and there's an ebook book that can be purchased. So sometimes you want to try to find things that are free, and you can definitely in here find items that are free in the Google search. So as you go through, you're going to find, more and more things. It'll give you different options for different ways to do your research. But what is also neat is if you're doing your research for your class. So let's say you were searching for an invention, and we're going to pick the light bulb. You're going to get lots and lots of different information about it. But let's look up the first light bulb and try to make that a little bit more specific. And sometimes Google will give you recommendations. So here's a whole bunch of other ones. And again, it's going to give you a lot of complicated stuff that is actually going to be usually some kind of academic articles that are written. But if you were looking for something on a particular topic, so let's say the Roman Empire, you're going to find all kinds of information relative to that. And so depending on what it is, if we're gonna, let's find, here's a book, Enemies of Rome. Again, it's a book that can be purchased, so we're not gonna purchase anything. But if you were looking to find information about what it might look like, you can actually see a preview of it. But what's neat is if there was a book that you were going to use, you can click here for the citation. And now this is where Google Scholar is super helpful. For those of you doing research, in English, a lot of times your teachers will want you to use MLA. Well, here you go. There's the MLA format. Sometimes you'll have different requirements in different classes, but what Google Scholar does is it actually puts it right there for you. So you don't have to try to figure out how to get your citations correct. Google Scholar will actually do that for you. The other thing that you can do is if you are looking for information and you're just doing your basic research, if you want to save something, you can save it to your library by just clicking on this star, and then that will save it to your library. So that way, if it looks like it's something that might be interesting and you want to go back to it, you're going to be able to create an actual library. You can even add labels to the items so that you can go back and look at those later. So instead of having to click on every single thing and decide if you want to use it, you can look and decide, this might actually be something that's useful to me. So I'm going to go ahead and just favorite that. And as you go through, you'll see them in your library. So it's really helpful to be able to go back, find some books, find some information, and go back and find that again. And then when you do click on any of these items, you're going to get all kinds of information. Sometimes they're free books and or free articles, you'll be able to look them up and actually read them. Other times it's information that's going to come in some other area. We have to go into other databases. These little arrows here where it says more, it'll give you just a little bit of other information about the article. So depending on what you're looking for, Google Scholar can be really helpful, and it's going to take you beyond just the basic search where you find everything just in Wikipedia. So get out of Wikipedia, get out of regular Google. If you're doing research for school, also make sure you try Google Scholar as well. So hopefully you learn a little something new and have some fun and happy researching. Bye now.